Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I am TJ, and I'm here with my brother Tim. And once again, we are the Yinzer Bros. Today's the Steelers-Ravens preview game. Tim, this is a big game. I know that I don't have to tell you that. Anytime we play the Ravens, it's a big game. And we know this. The winner of this game, I think, is the front runner to the AFC. It's not just a great game for us, but it's a rivalry game as well. We know this. The Steelers and the Ravens, they just don't like each other. Tim, when you hear the word Ravens, what is the first thing that pops in your head?
White suit jacket.
White suit jacket. Why is that?
Because Ray Lewis murdered people in a white suit jacket.
So you're still not going to let that go, huh?
Never. He's a murderer. Many things. I mean, there's through the years, there's been many things that cross my mind with this whole entire. I mean, it's the hitting, it's the hatred. I mean, I've had so many good memories from the rivalry. You know, I mean, some of the most classic memories. I mean, I remember, I believe we were for my wedding in St. Lucia when they clinched it with the Troy interception to go to the Super Bowl. I believe that was in 05, right? Was it 05? That was 08.
07. 08, you're right.
08. So,
yeah, what year were you married again, Tim?
I'm thinking 08. I don't know at this point anymore. I don't even know what planet I'm on anymore. But yeah, that's a great memory. I remember just being absolutely pretty intoxicated that night and almost crying myself and running into the ocean when that happened. I mean, you had that. You've had the Antonio Brown catch on Christmas to win the division. You've had the Santonio Holmes catch to win the division. I mean, majority of these games, it's divisional games. It's kind of to see who's the pecking order in the division. A lot of times also, too, when these teams are this good, not only is it a divisional thing, they end up meeting somewhere in the playoffs, and it's usually these two teams, you know, Super Bowl-wise, you know, for the AFC.
That's true. You're right. So it's a big game. And I think this week is no exception. It's going to be a great game. There's a lot to break down, and we'll be getting to that in just a few minutes. Before we get to that, we're going to open up the Yinzer Mailbag. We had a couple things in the Yinzer Mailbag. You may ask, what is the Yinzer Mailbag? It's when you, the fans, get to ask us, the Yinzer Bros, anything you'd like to about the Steelers and about the podcast. If you have a question, you can send it to yinzerbros@gmail.com. Again, that's yinzerbros@gmail.com. And if you are lucky enough, you might actually get your question read on the Yinzer Mailbag. We have a few questions tonight in the Yinzer Mailbag. One from your buddy Mark again. And he actually kind of going along with what we'd already talked about. He asked us, what is our most memorable moments of the Steeler-Ravens rivalry? You mentioned a couple good ones, like, you know, the 2008 interception, Troy's interception in the championship game was amazing. He takes that to the house, and and Mark says what he loves about that is he held up the ball as he was, running to the end zone as if he was presenting it to the football gods. I think that's a pretty neat take on that.
I may say that may be I think that may be the most famous play in Heinz Field. That's probably, since that's been open, I think that's been the kind of the signature play.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here's a couple other good ones. You remember Heinz Ward planting Ed Reed in 2007?
Yes.
Again, Heinz, you talk about somebody that hates Heinz Ward, the entire Ravens team. He created a lot of mess for, a lot of the teams in the AFC, especially the North there. Do you remember the one when Troy jumped over the line and he jumps on Flacco's back? That was another great one too. Just, stopping that.
The one play I think people a lot of forget about a lot too is that game in 08 after Troy had that interception. That hit Ryan Clark put on Willis McGahee. It was. I thought they were both dead. I thought McGahee was dead. I mean, but Clark, that was one of the most vicious hits I have ever seen. You got that.
Didn't they both get knocked out on that hit? I mean, they were both taken out of the game, weren't they?
There was a different degrees of knocked out. I mean, Brian Clark was buzzed. Willis McGahee, his soul left his body right there. I don't know if he played like anywhere near his caliber after that hit in that game. I mean, there's so many. Even when Ben broke his nose and he was playing, there's a lot of good memories of this rivalry.
There's no love lost between those two teams. A lot of great plays, a lot of great games. The second topic, and this speaks to what you said earlier. This is from Mark again. He says, "As a man of God, has Ray Lewis gained redemption now from his past atrocities?" Tim?
No, he is a scumbag walking the earth.
He is one of the few guys. I mean, anytime you play football, there's always
show me the white
banter.
Suit. Where's the white suit? Show me the white suit.
Well, anytime you play football, there's a banter, and we both played. So you got guys that are yelling at each other. They're saying stuff like, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." He is one of the guys. When he says, "I'm going to kill you," when you get home, you better check your bushes. You better have your neighbors come help you, because that could be a threat. It could really happen. I mean, don't you think so?
No, he did kill somebody. So he did kill somebody. It's not a threat. He did kill humans.
Well, he did. He did. That's the word on the street. Here's another question.
He did. He killed humans.
Yeah, he probably did. So let's it'll be a good game.
If Mr. Lewis, if you're listening to this podcast, everything I say is just a joke. Probably a great guy.
Hey, how about this moment for the Steeler Ravens? Remember when Tomlin stepped out?
He tried to trip the returner. Yes.
That's another great moment, Tom.
My coach.
Gosh, you gotta love that coach. It's my coach. Says, with the chance of Gilbert being out, I don't know if you saw this on the injury report for the Steelers. He was limited today in practice. I think he had a back injury. He's backing up the mighty Spillane. How are you guys feeling about the depth at inside linebacker?
I don't even know who's after.
That's Ulysses Gilbert, right?
I don't know who's after him.
Oh, I think, Tim, that might be you. You got 4 plays in the NFL. Did you get a call from Coach Tomlin this week?
I don't got 4 plays in this game.
This would be a rough game to get your 4 in.
4 plays like in a Jet game? Possible. Not 4 in the Raven game. Not 4 against the Ravens.
No, the Ravens are tough.
No, I may have a half a play. And middle linebacker, I don't even that may be one of those things. I'm checking into the game. I'm pulling hamstring as I'm walking onto the field.
That still may not save you. If they see you in a black uniform laying in a heap on the ground, they may still come after you.
I would probably immediately try to do like a dog and try to dig a hole in the ground and put the grass over top of me.
Yeah, this would be a bad one. So, I mean, we are thin. I mean, you're talking about, probably a safety coming up. This might be, again, that we're talking again about trading to get somebody in there. The trade deadline is on the 3rd of November. So it's just going to be, what is that? Is that Wednesday, the 3rd of November? No, it's Tuesday. That's the election day, right? So again, if the Steelers, what'd you say?
They got to do something, I think.
They do. I mean, they still got, you got that kid from the Jets. I know you're not a big Jet fan, but you got Avery Williamson. They could pick him up, probably get him pretty cheap. You can probably get him for a 6 or 7 round pick, and he'd only be, maybe $1 million and a little bit on the cap.
One thing I'm kind of curious. I know I saw Dallas cut Deontay Poe, which is a D lineman, big D tackle type of dude. And I know he's a first rounder. He's a pedigree. I wouldn't mind seeing if they can get him cheap, bring him in for some line depth too, and that rotation wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, didn't they cut him though? Isn't he he's got issues with his weight? Isn't he 350 pounds?
TJ, they're Dallas. I mean, that place over there it's like a fun house right now, man.
Oh, Dallas is a mess.
Did you see the guy, the defensive coordinator? They had to stop his press conference because he went to rub his eye and he had Tabasco sauce from eating wings on his fingers. He actually said this during the press conference. He's like, I got to go. I got my eyes burned. I had Tabasco. I'm going, this place is just a crap show over there, man.
Oh, it's a mess. But isn't it great to see Dallas struggling?
I thought Andy Dalton was dead too. Yeah, it is. Dude, but
So who's starting for that? Who's their QB this week?
Danucci, and he is a Pittsburgh product.
Jeez.
I would hate to see, in somehow, some way, a Pittsburgh blood flowing through his veins, the person that saves the Dallas Cowboys. Boy, you hate to see it. You just hate to see it. You hate to see it.
It's happened before. I mean, arguably one of their greatest running backs in history. You got Emmitt Smith, who's right behind Emmitt Smith? Dorsett, big Pitt guy. So it's not like it'd be crazy. It's not out of the realm. So the Steelers do need help. There's some guys that are going to be floating around. I still like the linebacker, from the Lions too. I like Gerard Davis.
I think the Lions are too. I think the Lions are too in it now to do that stuff. That's which. I mean,
so it might be the Jets. We may have to pick over the Jets or the Falcons. That kid from the Falcons.
The Falcons, maybe I can't do anybody from the Jets. The Jets are just they're dumpster fire.
I think we'll see a move here shortly because I think we're too thin in that position. And I don't think it's anything other. I don't think it's a confidence issue. I think we just need to get some more guys in there. So I think we gotta do something with that. I don't know. I think it's it will help. Here's another question too. It says,
don't they have another slow white guy on the practice squad they can bring up or something?
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they got another slow one. Who knows? Maybe they can pick Chicolo up. Maybe Chicolo can come. Different position though. Chicolo's a different position.
Don't ever say his name when we're 6-0 again.
I think what they'll end up doing is they'll end up bringing one of their safeties. I did see that Sean Davis was actually dressed, and I think he had a play this week or two. And then I think who's the other kid? Marcus Allen. They got him around too, and he's he's technically listed as a backer now, isn't he?
I guess. I mean, he's just so small, man. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do with a guy that's sitting
coverage.
There
he's coverage. Hey, there was a little bit of good news. I mean, Hilton didn't. He was limited to practice, but at least he suited up, which is good. Getting him back, that'll help too. But we haven't lost him too much. Here's another good question. I think is really good. Let's talk about the great special teams play by the Steelers this year. Usually, you're not talking about how great special teams are for the Steelers, but they haven't been half bad this year, actually.
They've been good. Besides the punting stinks, but they've been good. I mean, seeing Ray McLeod, I mean, it's like night and day compared to him in Switzer. I mean, it just is. But their coverage unit's been great. I think they got two of the best gunners in the league. I mean, you got Claypool and I forget what's on the other side. I mean, they've been monsters all year. So their special teams have been very good.
I'm not and again, I'm not a big Barry fan, but I got to say this, 2 punts last week, 50 yards, an average. That's a good day at the office. If your punter can kick it 50 yards, I'll keep him.
It's amazing what happens when you got, the fire held at your feet. It's amazing what could happen, man.
Yeah, he's an Aussie, so maybe he just needed that challenge.
We'll see. This week will be a test because I think there's going to be a lot of punting this week. And I think he's either going to be screaming to number 1 on the list, or he may get off the list. One of the two. I don't think there's anything in between.
Yeah, they're going to need a good special teams play. I got to say this, and I think when we look at the game this week, I would give the special team edge to the Steelers, which how often do you say that in a game?
That's true, man. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that is normally the Ravens are pretty, especially John Harbaugh being a special teams guy. They're usually top notch, but I would say they're probably.
Yeah. Here's another question in the mailbag that I think is pretty good, actually. Who has been your surprise player of the year so far for the Steelers?
Would you want to take that? Do you want to take that jump first? Or you want me to take it?
You take the jump first, and I'll come in right behind you.
Surprise
Who's your surprise player? Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
how about you give an offense, a defense, and maybe
I don't even need to give it. There's nobody else besides Canada, my home in
Claypool has been a stud, and I don't think anybody could have called that, right?
No, I mean that's the dude. He's walking around. He made that. Did you see the video he made this week? The tearjerker where he signed the shirt and sent it to the guy.
That.
He's my guy. Yeah, he's my guy. He's my guy.
He is a stud. I like too his versatility for his size. I think the Steelers are using him, and I gotta give a shout out to this. Here's going to be one of my surprise guys. It's not even a player; it's a coach, Matt Canada. And I got to tell you this: I got to give props up to my coach Tomlin. Yeah. You can tell the offense looks different this year, And I like how they're using guys. I like how they're spreading the ball around. Ben looks better. I mean, obviously he had a bad game last game with those 3 picks, but again, he's getting the ball out of hands quick. It's quick, and he's spreading the ball to a bunch of different guys. I like what they're doing with him. And you got to love these quick tosses and these quick handoffs to Claypool. He's using these guys in amazing ways.
If you Canada was at one point was the offensive coordinator for Pitt. And that's when Pitt was actually putting up 40 points a game. That's when he left after that. And they've been absolutely atrocious ever since. So you can see the offense that he had when he was at Pitt. You can see everything they're doing with the Steelers. And yeah, you're right. Like all the jet sweeps and the different motions and you can tell there's a different flair on the offense that, you see Kansas City do all the time. Now you're seeing it kind of here, so it's nice having Canada. You can tell it's kind of been, the offense has had a little smidgen different. I mean, I think over the years, Ben has been getting the ball out quicker. That's one of the things they wanted him to avoid getting that big hit. But seeing a lot of the motion and stuff like that now, and a lot of the stuff, it's refreshing to see.
It is. So let me ask you a question. Do you think they might be grooming Canada for, an OC position?
Fitchner's never going to get a head coaching job. So let's just be real. And if the offense starts going downhill, they're not just going to say, hey, Canada, you take this over. They're going to go hire from the outside. So if anything, I would think Canada would be leaving to be an offensive coordinator somewhere.
Do you think the Steelers, would they let him get away?
Yeah, because they're not going to get rid of Fitchner, which Fitchner's too good of buddies with Ben for them to get rid of Fitchner. And
they said the same thing to the coaches now in Tampa.
Yeah,
they're golfing buddies. They'll never get rid of him. And then look where he's at.
But that's what I'm saying. They end up getting they got him and Ben got too close. That's why they got rid of him. And I have a feeling the same thing with Fitchner. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know, TJ. I don't ever see Canada taking over the offensive coordinator position unless Fitchner leaves.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I don't think it's going to happen.
Who knows that? So let me throw another curveball at you. Who would be your defensive surprise?
Oh, Alu by far. I mean, he has been a force. I mean, that's been my guy this year, period.
Yeah, he's been amazing. Who would have called that? Nah, he's my guy too. I think it's amazing. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good Yinzer Mailbag. Again, if you get any questions for us, any comments, any ideas, any endorsements, we take cash, we take Apple Pay. You could pay us in food, all that stuff. We're your guys.
Anything besides Moose Munch. We don't do Moose Munch.
We don't do Moose Munch. Anything that's associated with the Boy Scouts of America, we don't do.
No.
If you got any questions at all, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. Again, that's yinzerbros@gmail.com. If you're lucky enough, we may get your question answered on the show. Now, let's talk about the Steelers and the Ravens. Now, we know this. These two teams, they just don't like each other. Now, last year they swept us, but let's just be real. We weren't very good last year. We had subpar QBs. And this was interesting. I heard this year, and I didn't realize this. This game will only be the second time that Lamar has faced the Steeler defense.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they faced us early. And here, this was amazing to me. And they beat us in overtime, 26-23. And they contained Jackson pretty well. They sacked him 5 times. He threw 3 picks. And again, we took them to overtime, and we had nothing on the offense. And this was, if you remember, this was the game that Mighty Mason was concussed. You remember when he was concussed and taken out of this game, and I believe that's when we saw the duck come in.
Well, I can also remember too we had the game in hand. I think didn't Juju fumble?
He did
to give them. I mean, I think we were driving on them big time to actually score to win the game. It wasn't like I think all we needed was a field goal at that time in OT to win the game because we stuffed him and he fumbled, as I can recall. And that's how we ended up losing the game.
He did. So, I mean, we really had them. We had them cornered pretty well. I mean, and again, the last year for the Steelers, as we went deeper into the year, we just got injuries caught up with us, and it was bad. So, again, I think it'll be interesting. I'm very pleased with the Steelers' game plan against Lamar, and we'll see what they can continue. So as we talk about the Ravens, what are your thoughts about, anytime you talk about the Ravens, you always start with their defense. What are your thoughts about the Ravens defense?
They're good. They're good. It gets me a little nervous. They picked up a guy, from Minnesota that I saw some ungodly stat of his that since he's been in the league at the same time as I think he's right behind Mac when it comes to sacks in Dockway. So, I mean, he's good and he's only 25 years old. So I have a feeling you're going to be messing with him for quite a long time. Um, so they have a decent defense, and I know, I mean, if you want to be technical, they are the lowest scoring defense in the league. And this was before they had him Dockway. So, it's not gonna be a walk in the park. I mean, they have great defensive backs. They got great young linebacker, middle linebacker, Calais Campbell, who I thought was hilarious. That Tomlin called him a goon in his press conference, which I thought was hilarious. They're good. They're good, man. I mean, they're not a defense you could probably. This is going to be the best defense we played this year.
No, I agree. I agree. They're a top defense. There's no doubt. So, do you see any weaknesses on their defense at all?
I think they're very similar to the Steeler defense, truthfully, man. I don't think their outside guys are as great. I mean, you have Dockway. Their defensive backs are as good or better than the Steelers. Maybe their safety play is worse. So to me, maybe beating them guys in the middle of the field. I don't know how great they are against the run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, anytime you're going to, it's a great defense. I guess the first thing you're going to try to establish is the run. So hopefully they can get some type of running game going or something, man.
They seem to be pretty stout against the run, so I think it's it is what it is. But so talking about their defense, what are give me 2 or 3 keys, some things that the Steelers offense has to do in order to win this game against their defense?
To me, you got to establish a run somehow, some way. You can't, even though you may not get 100 yards or be dominant on the ground. It'd be great to be dominant on the ground. You can't just give up on the run. With this defense, you can't have the Ben throwing the ball 40 times, or he's going to get hurt. You can't do it. So that's going to be one of my big keys, kind of try to establish some type of run. You got to get your tight ends involved, because I think that's maybe a mismatch that could help us. And then get in the play action game somewhat going on to kind of bring those linebackers in and freeze them, so you can kind of work on their safeties too. Maybe a big thing. So, I mean, I guess to me, it all comes down to that line of scrimmage. If the Steelers line can control it, protect Ben, run the ball a little bit, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to say this, the Steelers line has been excellent this year. I mean, they've been solid. I'm with you. I think you have to establish the run. I think the Steelers have so many offensive weapons this year. And one of the unique things that we've never really had, I mean, you had Heath Miller, but I don't think we've ever had a tight end like Ebron that can attack, the defense like a big wide receiver. When we're spread, we're fast and we're big, which is unique for the league. You got 2, big targets that are receivers that are good, and then you throw in guys like Deontay that are just stupid fast. I think it's a good mixture. And then don't forget this year too. I know that the Ravens defense is stout, but you know what? They give up 400 yards and 4 TDs to the Chiefs. But who are the Chiefs? But what about Haskins? They gave up over 300 yards to Haskins as well. I think that they can be beat in the passing game. I think Ben could pick them apart if we're looking at stuff. Again, if you can keep them upright, that's going to be the challenge.
To me, I think this is going to be one of those classic. You better make sure our defense is in cahoots with our offense, because I think their defense is as good as Baltimore's offense. If Baltimore has a lead, that makes their defense even more dangerous. If this game is close, which it should be, I think the Steelers are going to be good, even footing with these guys, because they're not going to be able to tee off on Ben, 24/7 or whatnot. So I think it's going to come down to I think the bigger points would be our defense against our offense. If we can keep them either even or working from behind, Steelers should win this game. But, I mean, it gets me nervous. You look at some of the stats, especially with Baltimore coming off buys. not pretty, man.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But I think this is one of the games you throw a lot of those stats out because I think these guys don't like each other. So who is your offensive player to watch?
My offensive player to watch, man, I want to say Ebron because like I said before, every time I pick a wild card or somebody, they always turning out terrible. So you know what? To me, I'm going to keep it. It's a running game, so I'm going to say it's going to be Connor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's a wild card.
Well, it is. I mean, he's just your player to watch.
I think you're going to. I could see this turning into a Benny Snell game though too. It should turn into a Benny Snell game at some point. He should be the one. If this game's close and possession comes to it, he could have an integral part of wearing Baltimore's defense down. But I don't know if you're going to see it. But so I'm going to say James Conner. That's just, yeah.
I agree. I think I would say the running game, and I was going to say that one of my guys to watch is going to be Benny Snell. I think they're going to utilize him, and again, I think you're going to see some things. Again, there's going to be some mismatches with our receivers. I think you're going to see Claypool come big again here too. Because what do? You got to pick your poison.
I'd be kind of curious to see. They're going to have to double somebody.
If you're Harbaugh, who do you double?
That's the
I tell you who I can tell you who I double. I think I double Johnson. I think he's the guy you got to take him out of the game. And so I think pick your poison. Juju's going to get his. He's not going to beat you with speed. So if you double Deontay, you leave Claypool out there, and you'll get a couple shots down the field. If you double Claypool, then Johnson just runs ragged. This might be another big game for Washington.
Here's the thing, though, too, is I think they have two good enough corners that they could possibly run man on those guys, and you can double Juju in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm kind of thinking may happen. And those outside receivers Claypool's going to have to win his one-on-ones, but you're going against probably, I'd say two of their corners are probably the top 10 corners in the league, two of them, both. So he's going to have to make plays. He's going to have to – this isn't like you're going to be going against some of these bumps he's been playing against for corners. I mean, he's going to be going against – and if he can make plays, that's when you know this dude is this dude is real. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to see more one-on-ones, and you think that's the only way I could see them defending. I don't –
See, if they play it like that, then you got to think Ebron's going to have a good game because they're going to have to throw a linebacker on. I mean, what linebackers are going to be able to cover him down the field?
That's what I agree. So I don't know. I don't know their speed at the middle linebacker. I know Queen, I think, is the guy that they drafted. I think he plays middle linebacker, and he's pretty good. I just know what his speed's like. I don't know if he's a burner like Bush's or was, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to be kind of curious. You'll know after that first, I'd say, quarter what their game plan is to see how the Steelers. I think it's going to be a game of adjustment for the Steelers offense too.
Yeah. I think that it'll be a great game. So let's talk about the Ravens offense now. When you hear about the Ravens offense, what about the Ravens offense makes you nervous?
I mean, you got to contain Lamar Jackson. You have to. You got to take a page out of what I've seen Tennessee do in that playoff game last year. Keep Lamar somehow in that pocket, kind of shut down his run, and make him throw to the outside. And make him throw to the hashes. Make him throw to the hashes. Because to me, he's going to – and even if you look at some of the Steelers last year's game they played against them, that's what they did. A lot of his throws and the mistakes were in the hashes. I think they had two picks that were in the hashes. They made him throw to the hashes. So to me is you got to contain him. You got to keep your lanes, keep your rushing lanes, contain them. And you got to make him throw to the outside, and you got to stop the run. Because I don't know. I haven't seen Ingram. I don't think he's practiced yet for them this week. So I don't know if he's playing. He's still a bum ankle, but contain Lamar Jackson. Watch those. I mean, his favorite targets, the tight end, Andrews. I mean, you got to contain him, which you don't got Devin Bush. That gets me nervous. And like I said, I don't know how much them shutting down Lamar Jackson last year had to do with the speed of Devin Bush.
You're right.
So we'll see.
Bush had a great game last year. He did. I mean, Lamar, I still think I think he ran for 60 or 70 yards last year against us. Yeah. I think he got his, but again, he didn't beat you with his arm. I'll give him 70 yards if he's not breaking away to touchdowns. as long as you limit the touchdowns, I think it's fine. So again, now we're looking at their offense. Let's pair up our defense. What are, 2 or 3 things that our defense has to do to win this game? We talked about containing, Lamar Jackson. What are some other things that we have to do?
You got to stop the run. You got to shut the run. You got to shut. Lamar can have his day on the ground if it's not like, you're not talking 150, 200 yards or whatnot, but you can't let their running backs get loose for. You can't let them get loose at all. You shut their running game down, try to make them as one-dimensional as possible. You'll have some success. So to me, is grade A number 1, start shutting that running down a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we stopped the run. And I'll tell you what, I think the Steelers, even their performance last week, with Henry, boy, our front 7 are tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll be okay with doing that if we can. Again, when you do think of the Ravens, they do a lot of those RPOs and stuff like that, and they're always doing this misdirection. If we stay disciplined, I don't think you're going to see a ton of blitzing this week out of the Steelers. I think they're going to just, give you the pressure that they have and then make him beat you.
I think you're going to see blitzes, but I think you're going to see run blitzes. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I don't think you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of Mike Hilton, if he's healthy, or if he's not healthy, probably Cam Sutton.
Dude, Cam Sutton, he did great last week. I think he did fine. He filled in beautifully, I thought.
You're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of that type of blitzing this week to kind of make that four-man rush look like it'd be a 5-man rush. So you're going to get in those run lanes. So you're kind of containing Lamar Jackson. I'm kind of curious to see who they're going to use to spy him. Somebody's going to be spying him. And to me, you almost have to, if you don't have Bush, you got to use one of those safeties or somebody. I don't know who's going to. You
do. Yeah. Because Spillane's he's not fast enough for that, No, but he's a good run stopper. I get that. He'll get his, but I would not be surprised if you see, they've been working Davison a little bit more. If you see a Marcus Allen or somebody like that come down and just spy him, even a Sutton, I don't know, somebody that'll he's your guy. So who's your defensive player to watch this year or this game?
Defensive player to watch this game.
Who's the guy's going to surprise us? I shouldn't even say surprise us, but who do you think is going to be the one that gives us the most impact?
Oh man, I don't want to say this name. But everything that in my mind, it's like circles back to him, which I think he's going to need a big game for us to win, is Edmonds. I hate to say it, but I think he needs it. I do. He's going to be the safety to me, I think he's going to be the safety that's covering the tight end, and or spying on Lamar Jackson and or playing in the box and stopping that run. So if he has one of his typical Edmonds games, the Steelers are going to get killed. So this is either going to be a come to Jesus game for Edmonds, which I saw a little bit of flashes of it last game.
Yeah.
Or not. So to me, just by process of elimination on that whole entire defense, who I think that the Ravens are going to key on, that either needs to show up or doesn't need to show up, it's going to be Edmonds. So if he shows up, they win.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right.
I can't believe I said that, man. My God.
He might be the guy. Because this is when you think of Jackson too. Jackson is not really good at looking guys off either. He kind of gets locked onto people. And like you said, and if you're going to the hashes, that you're setting things up for either of the safeties. This could be a big game for Mika as well, especially if we're getting pressure and he gets happy feet and he can't get out of the pocket.
Was Mika there the first time they played Baltimore?
We played them. Yeah, he was.
He was. Okay. I wasn't sure the first time time we played them if he was there.
Yeah, he was there. And I think he had an impact actually. He was there. He wasn't there long, but he was there. Yeah. No, I think Mika's going to have a good game as well. I think Alu is going to have another good game too. I think they're going to condense that pocket, and he's a wide body. You get him in there, and I can see them, this week playing a lot of that. You got that 7-man front. I could see those front 5 squeezing that pocket. If we get good push, from Cam and from Tuitt, and what's going to happen on the edges. Nobody's going to run outside on those guys.
Yeah.
I think it could be a really good game. And, I think Lamar's a different, if he has to beat you with his arm, that doesn't scare me. It just doesn't. I like the blueprint that they put against, Deshaun Watson. Again, he doesn't run like Lamar, but
Yeah.
they're similar quarterbacks.
To me, Deshaun, like I said, I know he won the MVP last year. I think Deshaun's a little bit more dangerous because he could beat you throwing the ball.
He can.
I don't think Lamar can. He's proven to me he could beat you throwing the ball.
No.
And I'm kind of curious to see what they say. I think this is a big for Lamar Jackson. This is a huge game for him. Because if he doesn't win this game, I think you're going to hear the whispers of he looks great against everybody else when he's got to play the primetime teams, and in the playoffs he folds. So I think this is a very big game for him, for his psyche for the rest of the year. Because truthfully, last year he was the talk of everything. If you look at it now, you ask most people, is he in your top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now that you take?
No.
To me, there's just, you don't go from league MVP to that drastic drop off. Something doesn't add up to me. You know what I mean? I don't even know if he'd be in the top 7 or 10. So it's kind of.
Well, I think the league caught up with him. I think last year he was kind of like lightning in a bottle. And then when you start to get the blueprint out on how to stop this guy, I think things changed. He reminds me a little bit of, again, he's a lot quicker, more prolific running the ball than Cam is. But I'll tell you what, once the league caught up with Cam, look at him now. And he's a former MVP too.
Let me ask you a question. In your opinion, for what team is this game more important for? Is it for the Steelers or is it for the Ravens?
I think it's for the Ravens. I think they got approval. I think there's a lot more pressure on the Ravens because you got to remember this too. I mean, Cleveland is in the mix too. Now, I don't think Cleveland is very good, but man, they're nipping at their heels too. And Cleveland has a special place in their heart as well. So I think Lamar's got something to prove. And then also, I mean, let's just be real. Last year, it was kind of like when Brady went down with his knee injury. In our conference, Ben goes down, and in that absence, somebody has to fill the void. And I think the Ravens, don't get me wrong, they had a great year last year. Mm-hmm. They stepped up to fill the void while we were gone. But you know what? Ben's back. Mm-hmm. What happens last year if we have a healthy Ben all year? Does Lamar? I mean, is everybody talking about him like they did before?
Let me give you a fun fact. Here is the Ravens' schedule after the Steelers. And this is why I'm happy you said this is bigger for the Ravens. To me, the Steelers can drop this game. I think the Steelers can and not be any fearful of not winning this division. Ravens games, they got the Steelers this week, Colts, Patriots, Titans, back to the Steelers. Steelers go Cowboys, Bengals, Jaguars, back to the Ravens. So to me, looking at that, the Ravens have had bye to prepare for the Steelers. John Harbaugh is 12-2. His team's 12-2 coming off buys. They outscored their opponents, I think, like 378 to 100. I'm not, I don't have a good feeling about this game, the Steelers winning this game, but I'm not going to jump off a cliff if they lose this game, because I think Baltimore's not going to go through that gauntlet, because New England's not going to be as bad as they looked. Belichick will get that ship somehow right. Yeah. The Tennessee game's going to be very tough for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Colt game's going to be a walk in the park either. I just don't. Who
are the Colts? They're hard to figure out, aren't they? There's some weeks I think these guys are amazing, and there's other weeks I'm like, man, what's going on?
But I still don't think it's going to be a walk in the park.
No, it won't be.
And then you got to come face the Steelers after all that again on Thanksgiving night in Pittsburgh. That, to me, that game there is going to be the show me game. This game, to me, it's the appetizer. That game, I have a feeling that game on the 26th is going to be the division winner. Whoever wins that game, it will be the clear-cut division winner. This game, to me, is kind of because I just don't see the Ravens going through that gauntlet. They have to come up and coming untouched. Like I said, the Steelers will. I mean, and I say that now, and I read that kind of snippet of the Steelers' schedule after the Ravens here, that one of those 3 games would be prime Tomlin special game, which you're kind of just going, I could see them going down to Dallas and losing. I just can't, because I just scratch your head like, well, they just lost to that dumpster fire. But we'll see. I mean, that's why I kind of like, it's a big game, but I think this is way bigger for the Ravens than it is for the Steelers.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. And then, I mean, you know, you're a former QB. You know, you got a QB coming back in. His last performance in Pittsburgh was not very good.
No.
If you're a quarterback, what's the worst thing that you can do as a quarterback for you to get out of your head? That's hard to get out of your head.
What's the worst thing I can do?
Yeah. If you're a QB, what's the worst thing you can do to try to get out of your head?
Continue to think about what happened in the past and just think about how crappy I am.
But what's the worst thing you can do as a quarterback? If you're out QB, and what's the worst thing you can do as a QB? You turn the ball over. You make a mistake. You throw picks. He came out last time he was here with a terrible Pittsburgh offense. He threw 3 picks. He was on his back 5 times. You got to, you know, and when QBs try to do too much is usually when they get into trouble. He's going to come in here fired up. He's going to be thinking of all the stuff he can do. No. If he can't run, all that adrenaline is going to go somewhere. And usually for quarterbacks, when you've got all the adrenaline, you throw the ball too hard and you throw it too high. And that's where picks come in.
I agree. But on the flip side too, is if the Steelers win this game, after the Ravens have had a week off to prepare for them, rest their body, if the Steelers come in and they beat them soundly, what does this say about the Steelers? To me, you're kind of scratching your head going, my God, is this team ever going to lose? You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. You know, it's to me, like I said, do I have a great feeling about this game? No. Is it going to be end of the world if they lose this game? No. But we'll see. If they do win this game, I don't know when they're going to lose again, TJ. I don't, because I think I put it this way, I think if the Steelers somehow win this game, the psyche of the Ravens is going to be so bad, knowing that they had the week to prepare for them. They're rested. The Steelers have been playing nonstop, and they couldn't beat them. I think that November game is going to be a cakewalk if the Steelers handle them this time. I just do. I don't think the November game is going to matter, because I think the Steelers are going to have that much of a lead on them. Because I think if the Steelers beat them this game, I'd be stunned if the Ravens don't lose 2 more games before they even meet the Steelers. So you're talking being 4 games behind them as is. I don't even know if this game's even going to mean anything to the Steelers.
I think you're right. You know, it's funny. This team reminds me more of when you look at the Steeler dynasties. You know, when you look at the first 2 Super Bowls, they did that on defense. I mean, their defense was just smothering. And it's not that they didn't have offense, but you saw in the last 2 Super Bowls, their offense, they had a balanced offensive attack with the defense. And this, I don't know if I've ever seen a more complete Steeler team. Even like where Ben is at now. Now, obviously, this is what you get with Ben. And I hope you got to know this by now. You know, Ben can be reckless from time to time with the ball. He just is. You know, Brett Favre was like that too. You know, Brett Favre, you know, he's a gunslinger. I think what you get now with Ben's recognition of defenses and stuff like that makes him very dangerous. Again, he has to decide though, you know, he made a couple poor decisions in the game last week.
But you know what? Now that I had time to digest that game and go back and watch a little bit of it, I don't think they were as bad as decisions you think they were. I mean, the pass before the half, I put that more in Finkner. I don't know why they're throwing a Hail Mary. To me, it didn't make any sense. That's a stat building INT. The other INT was tipped.
Yeah.
The one he threw to Juju, if you look at that play and you look at the back of the end zone stuff, at the time when Ben's looking at that, all you see is Juju with a linebacker on him, with the linebacker's back to Ben. You're a quarterback and you see that. If you see what your best player and you're thinking about, hey, I can put the game away right now. You got a linebacker on him and you see the linebacker's back. As a quarterback, you're told to throw that ball and let your receiver make a play. And if you technically look before those safeties got there, before they made that pick, because Juju, it hit him in his hands. It did. The linebacker's back and it hit it and it kind of tipped up. Juju could have made that play. So to me, I don't think they were as bad as when I first kind of looked at them saying, what are you throwing into triple cover for? If you look at it from where Ben's, I saw a clip from where Ben's point of view was when he looked back. it's not as bad as a throw as you think it was, especially the timing of the game of saying, hey, instead of kicking a field goal and these guys maybe come out, I could put the game away right here, right now. So I don't think it was that bad of a decision. Like I said, last week's game, if you look at it, I don't think it was as bad as people made it out to be, more, even if I did it first. So I don't think he's actually played that poorly. Now, you can question why they were throwing the ball 1,000 times when they got that big of a lead. That's one I don't understand. But I don't know if that's more of a Ben thing or a Fitchner thing. But I don't think those decisions, those interceptions are as bad as they appeared.
I think at the end of the game, and I know you got a chance to put a dagger in the heart, but at that point, a field goal makes it they got to score a touchdown to get in, and a touchdown's way different than a field goal. But again, it is what it is. I like the weapons that they have. I like having Ben at the helm, and I like what the defense is doing. They're a very complete team. I don't know any other teams in the league that are this balanced. Let's just be real. I think the Ravens are still kind of fluky on offense. I think, Lamar goes down. Their offense is Lamar. Mm-hmm. And I think as we catch up to him, you can't run like that. You cannot be a quarterback like that in the NFL forever. Because it catches up to you. Look at the shelf life of Cam Newton. Look at the shelf life of, you could even go back to the old guys that used to do that. Even Michael Vick and these guys, man, who they were lightning in a bottle, but that did not help them for longevity in their careers because you just can't take that kind of pounding. All of the QBs that have longevity, none of them were scramblers. None of them, they just couldn't do that. You can't do that forever. Even Ben had to change his game. From hold on to the ball and get crushed. I think if they don't veer him, who I think saved his life? It was when they brought in Todd Haley, and he basically changed him. And if he wasn't such a crummy human, he's got his issues. I think he's a really good offense coordinator. Golly. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts. So Tim,
the only quarterback I could see, like you said, kind of like he plays like him, which I've never seen before because he seems like he can do that scrambling, but not take a pounding as Russell Wilson. I don't know how he does it. It's incredible to watch him play because he does a scrambling, but he never takes a hit. Never does. He is frightening good at times. Just kind of like, wow, but no, I get what you Lamar. Lamar plays, he's going to get, and he's not Cam Newton's size. Cam Newton's a linebacker playing quarterback. Lamar's gonna, he's not the biggest man in the world.
But you got to love Russell Wilson too for his size and what he can do. I mean, Seattle's got a great team, except they don't have a defense.
No, their defense is so. I may be able to get 4 players with that defense, maybe even 5.
Their defense is so bad. It's good, and I hope wouldn't it be terrible if we have this juggernaut year and we get to the Super Bowl and we see Brady at the Super Bowl? Wouldn't that be awful?
No, you got to slay the dragon some point, TJ. You got to slay the dragon. Ben has to slay the dragon. To me, the perfect scenario would be you beat the Ravens early in the playoffs, you beat the Chiefs and Le'Veon Bell's crummy rear end in the AFC title game, and then you beat Brady and Antonio Brown's terrible human existence, and you hoist a Super Bowl.
People don't. I don't know how we've forgotten this too. People don't realize. Do you know that Brown is still under investigation and probation? So there are still issues. At any moment, the carpet could be ripped out from them. They could lose him again.
He's such a terrible human. But I did pick him up in both of my fantasy leagues.
Tim, where's your moral compass, Tim?
The Evil Empire did the franchise of the Evil Empire. If you can play ball, we're going to sign you up.
So Tim, here's the big question. What is your final score of the game this week?
Steelers aren't winning this game, TJ.
What's your score?
I think this is going to be a typical close game. I think it's going to be something like a 24-21 type of game or something of the sort, 28-24, 28-21. It's the normal. It's probably going to be 3. I'm going to say 24-21 because normal every day when Ben's playing and Baltimore has, I think for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, every game was a 3-point game that they played. So I'm going to say 24-21 Ravens win.
Okay. You're picking the Ravens, huh?
It sucks to say. I just think the bye, the time to prepare, the time to get healthy against the Steelers, not having Devin Bush, John Harbaugh's the Ravens and Harbaugh's records coming out of buys. It's almost like the Steelers, that they're not going to lose. I just truthfully, and if this game maybe was prime time, I may feel a little bit different because Steelers usually play ridiculous on prime time no matter what's going on. But it's a Sunday 1:00 game. I don't got that feeling for it, man. I think it's not going to be a ugly loss, but it's going to be a loss.
So I think the Steelers are going to come out fighting because how many 6-0 underdogs do you know? I think they're going to be disrespected.
TJ, I'm a 6-0 underdog every day of my life.
I think they're going to feel disrespected. I think they've proven that they've got a good game plan against Mr. Jackson. And here's going to be a call. Ready for this? Here's going to be one of my magic calls. Lamar does not finish the game. He goes out with an injury somewhere in the game.
I'm not going to go against you because you are some magical wizard when it comes to predicting stuff.
He doesn't finish the game. I think he goes out. He takes a hit. He goes out with an injury, which means who's their backup? RG3? Is he still there?
If that dude beats us again, I may run my head through the
again.
The
we have a quarterback now, so I am picking the Steelers 24-17. I think it's going to be a statement game. We may drop another one through the year, but it's not going to be this week. I think the Steelers have too much momentum. I get it's the bye, but I think right now the Steelers are. What's the line from Rocky IV? He's like a piece of iron. I think right now the Steelers.
I was hoping you were going to go. He can't win.
I think right now the Steelers are. The buys are good. And they rest you, but sometimes you can get snake bit by the buy as well.
Yeah,
and I think this is going to be one of the cases. Lamar, the worst thing you can do with a bye, if you got issues with your head already, and you don't know what's going to be happening, I think the Steelers are going to confuse him. And I'm saying either Bud the Stud or TJ is going to put him on his can one time. He's not even going to see it coming, and he's going to get knocked out of the game. I don't know why. I feel it's like that's what's going to happen.
And again, you are some magical wizard, man. So I
think they're going to confuse him. They've been doing some. I mean, it's not going to be. It's easy to confuse Baker Mayfield. This is different. Yeah. I think they just. There's going to be things that he hasn't seen yet. And again, he's going to feel the pressure. He knows they're going to have to score points to beat the Steelers this time. Last time, I mean, that was not even an issue. But back there's too many weapons now. I mean, I think it's shuddering to think of when the Steelers have to open everything up on offense. They could be prolific.
And you do make a good point about putting up points because, I mean, the one team the Ravens got destroyed by was Kansas City. They put up a bunch of points. If you look at their schedule, I really don't think the Ravens played anybody besides – I mean, they know they played the Browns and they destroyed them week 1, but I think they played the Bengals, the Vikings. So they played a bunch of dumpster fire teams too. Mm-hmm. So no wonder why they're holding them to 17 points. But then again, I could flip that and say about the Steelers because they played some dumpster fire teams too, and they have put.
We did play the Titans, and the Titans are. I think the Titans can beat the Ravens. They did. They got the blueprint on it from last year. And again, I think here too. I think Cleveland was a misnomer too because you can confuse Baker Mayfield. He's missing elementary things, and if our defense can do that, their defense could do that all day long. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about they are slowly becoming a dumpster fire. I know they had a big victory this week, but all this mess that's going on there with Odell Beckham Jr. out and everything, and them saying they played better without him. It's a recipe for crud. So that's my pick: 24-17 Steelers. I think it's a statement game, and I think. Whoever wins this game, a shockwave goes through the AFC where they say, okay, there's a reestablishment of a pecking order. I still think of all the teams, I think you can pick the Steelers and Baltimore. They're the most balanced teams in the AFC, I think. And I still think that the Ravens are a little fluky.
Should be an interesting thing. I mean, like I said, I think, like I said, in your AFC, you have the Steelers and the Ravens. Regardless of what happens coming out of this game, you're going to have, to me, the Steelers, Ravens KC. Those are your Super Bowl. Throw them in a hat. One of those three are gonna go there. You know what I mean? So maybe we'll luck out and the Ravens will have to play KC, and one of those two teams will cannibalize each other and, make an easier road for us or something. So I don't know.
The bye is important this year. It is.
It is,
especially
very important.
you add another team. I'll tell you what, and I'll say this too. If you get in there and you see the Titans beat up the Ravens, I would throw them into the Ravens slot, because the Titans defense isn't as good as the Ravens defense. But I'll tell you what, even seeing Henry up close, other than the Steelers and the Ravens, I don't know too many defenses that can shut him down. I mean, he would look great in black and gold.
I agree.
That'll never happen, but he'll look great in black and gold. He's a force. Well, you heard it here. Those are our picks. Tim, anything else you'd like to add tonight at the mighty nationally listened to Yinzer podcast?
Boy, maybe next week we'll do a Tim versus the world.
Tim's he's had a busy time. Tim versus the world. He has.
I mean, I could leave you with a little snippet. The Olaf costume that I was waiting for from China, and put it this way, I was, I wouldn't consider this a Tim versus the world, but, was waiting for and was ready to get a reimbursement from my friend in China. It showed up at my door mysteriously yesterday. So, me being very excited, put it on. Tough fit for a guy my size, because you could tell that thing was coming from China and had the COVID all through it.
Well, tell them what size it was, Tim.
Oh, this was like the biggest size I get from the company. And I mean, there's a big difference between an extra large man in America and an extra large man in China.
But what was the size of the costume, though?
What do you mean?
Was it an extra large, Tim?
I think it was a double XL, truthfully. And TJ, there's no way that even an average, that wouldn't fit on a medium-sized man here. But I put it on. And I sent out a picture. I may look like an Olaf that just got out of prison. I put it on immediately when it came in. I was very excited. And, my wife was with my daughter in the other room. And if you don't know, Olaf is one of my daughter's favorite characters. I walked in. If I put it this way, if I would have saw the picture that my wife took before I went to visit my daughter, I probably wouldn't have went and saw my daughter. Because the picture I look like I just got done drinking a 40 and smoking a funny cigarette on the side of the street. But I went and I saw her, and she at first was very happy for about 25 to 30 seconds. And that soon went to hysterically crying and get away from me. What is that evil, drunk looking Frosty the Snowman guy that looks like he has a cigar sticking out of his mouth?
So tell them then your wife is telling you to take the suit off, right? And then what happens next, Tim?
Oh, first, as soon as the daughter starts crying, I took the head off of the mascot. It didn't even help. Olivia she was still just hysterically looking at me. I'm going, Daddy. No, wasn't having any of it. So my wife's got to get this costume off. So I attempted to take it off myself. At first attempt of me trying to pull this costume, you could hear the fabric starting to rip.
This is a high quality item from China.
Yeah, but I was thinking something different, but I had to yell for my wife to help me take this off. And we originally tried to just pull it over and off, and it just can't happen. Me having some bad shoulders, I'm not the type of person that can kind of just put my hands above my head, and touch my shoulders to my ears like a normal human. I just can't do it. The shoulders, Tim Harris' shoulders don't work that way. I don't know if it's the fat neck or just the broken shoulders. So my wife has a great idea of wanting to sit on the stairs and bend down and put your arms out. And so we're attempting to do that. And next thing I know, I feel the the Olaf. You see, it's two big circles like a snowman. That top part of the snowman had a lot of trouble getting across these man boobs, I like to call them. So my wife had to kind of work that costume. I thought she was gonna melt some butter down to get that thing off of me. And it took a good 10 minutes. It took a good 10 minutes to get off. We finally get it off. And I'm not even thinking that this. I think I was huffing in probably 90% COVID, maybe 10% good air. I immediately take that costume, put it downstairs, let it air out. It's sitting there. You can see the body, the head sitting on a fan downstairs. So anytime you go down my stairs, you see that thing looking at you, it's kind of creepy. And my wife immediately sent me upstairs. I mean, I just took a shower before that, probably an hour before that. She immediately made me go back upstairs and take another shower to wipe the COVID off me. And my daughter was still scared. She was actually still scared of me even after I was showered in my normal clothes. I came down. She was looking at me like, I don't know if she was scared of me in general, if she was just like, Dad, you should have known better trying to get that Olaf costume off. So,
so here's the question: are you putting it back on for Halloween?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. If I do, I don't think my kid's going to come near me, and I don't want her to be crying the whole entire time I have it on. There's that thought, and then there's a thought of I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it off again. So I don't know if maybe my wife's going to try to plop in that thing. I mean, we'll see. It's TBA. Like I said, it would be a fun thing to have to run through the neighborhood. But I mean, if I didn't look like a drunk, high Olaf, I would seriously think about running through the neighborhood. But I have a feeling I start going in that thing, walking through the neighborhood.
Winfield's finest. They're going to tase you.
There's a good chance you may see me on the news or something of the sort of me getting Olaf getting hoisted off to prison. I don't want that to happen, So we'll see. It's TBA. So it's either that or the next couple of days I really got to go into a starvation diet so I can slip in and slip out of that thing.
Well, you got 2 days, so I don't know if you're going to make it.
I mean, I'll be truthful. Ever since I put it on yesterday, I usually have a nice little chocolate delight before, after dinner or something like that. That humbled me big time. I didn't have any last night. I'm not going to have any tonight. I won't have any tomorrow. It's just very humbling. It just, yeah.
But you did have Popeyes tonight, Tim. And if memory serves me right, I think you had almost everything off the menu at Popeyes tonight.
You can believe what you heard from certain people. I know what I had in my heart.
Well, I'm sure it went right to your heart. It's Popeyes. I understand. Probably clogged a hole right there in the heart. I get it. That's okay. Well, we'll have to give you guys an update after. We'll see how Tim does on Halloween with the Olaf. Again, look for our next post-game podcast Sunday night, maybe Monday morning. We'll drop it about either a victory or a loss against the mighty Ravens. You know where I stand, where Tim stands. Again, I'm TJ, and I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Have a safe and happy Halloween. Stay classy, Pittsburgh.